Hey friends! In today's video, I want to talk about how to build a resume. So I'm creating this series for you guys to help you after you pass the NCLEX. So let's talk about resume building. So in this video, we're going to go over what a resume is, how it's set up, and then we're going to do a step-by-step walkthrough on the computer of making a resume using a resume template. And these resume templates are available below for you guys to download. They're absolutely free. What is a resume? A resume is really a marketing tool that presents your skills and experiences and different certifications to employers in a very condensed and easy to read way. Typically, a resume is 1 to 2 pages, so it is very condensed and easy for someone to read. So the reason I say 1 to 2 is a resume should be 1 sheet of paper. You don't want to come in with anything that is stapled or have multiple sheets of paper. When I say 2 pages, that means we can do a front and a back to that 1 sheet of paper. Additionally, if you need more space, your margins can be 0.5 inches so that you can kind of, get more space. And typically the font should be Times New Roman size 11. You can do 12 if you feel like you need to fill up the page more if you don't have a ton of experience. You also want to make sure that when setting up your resume, you have consistent format throughout. You don't want to have different texts. You don't want to have clutter. You want it to be very clean and well organized for an employer to look at. There are tons of resume templates online. Everyone kind of has their own opinion on the style that they like. For me, I like a very clean, simple resume. You'll see all these different ones that have places you can insert your pictures, and they have like background images with different shading and colors, and to me that's just too much. So I like to keep it simple, but there are tons of different templates that you guys can find, and like I said, I have mine down below. Another thing is when you're writing your resume, you want to avoid pronouns. You don't want to use I, we, our. And also on a resume, you want to highlight your accomplishments and also target what the job is looking for. So you do kind of want to tweak your resume depending on the job you're applying for, and this will be the same with your cover letter, which I have another video on how to write a cover letter that I will link up above. But pretty much you want the employer to see your resume and think this person is a great fit for this job. So what's included in a resume? Well, first you have your header, which is up at the top, and you're going to have your name, your address, how to get in contact with you, such as an email and a phone number. Below that, you're going to have a education portion, and for this you want to put the schools that you've attended in reverse chronological order. So the most recent would be the first one on the list. A lot of people ask if you should be putting your GPA on the resume. That really is personal preference. Typically the rule is if it's higher than a 3.2 that you can put it on your resume, but it's completely up to you if you want to put it on there or not. When you list your education, you're going to put the name of the school you attended as well as the date that you graduated. If you haven't graduated yet and you're applying for the job, you can put the date that you intend on graduating. You're also going to put the name of the degree that you got, so whether it's a bachelor's of nursing science or an associate's degree in nursing, you'll put that on there as well. You can also put any academic accomplishments, so say you're the president of the nursing club or something like that, you can list that there as well. So when it comes to listing your education, you don't need to put every single school that you've attended. You don't need to put your high school and your elementary school and your middle school. You really just put your college level. If this is your first degree in college and you just need a little more space to fill, you could put your high school on there. If, say, you had a really good GPA or something and you want that listed, you could add that as well. But you don't want to have 5 or 6 different schools that include your high school and elementary or middle school educations. So the next thing is kind of the structure of the resume, and I've listed 2 examples for you guys. So depending on where you are in your nursing journey, you can pick the one that's best for you. So I'll start with first, if you are a nursing student, maybe straight out of high school with minimal work experience related to hospital care or patient care, you may want to include first your clinical rotations from your school. So there is one example of that in the resume bundle. Now, say if you're on the other end of the spectrum where you have a bunch of in-hospital work experience before becoming a nurse, you would put this first before your clinical rotations, because realistically, every nursing student has had clinical rotations. So you really want to put emphasis on the jobs that you've worked previously that relate to inpatient care or whatever type of job that you're applying for. So just to summarize, if you are a new grad nurse with no patient care experience, after your education, the first thing that you'll put is your clinical rotations from nursing school. If you are a new nurse who has had lots of experience, whether as a CNA or a mental health worker or something like that, you would put that before your clinical rotations. Now, you can include your clinical rotations in your resume if you have a lot of experience, if you have the space for it. If you don't really need to. However, if you have done clinical at the facility that you're applying to, that would be great to keep on your resume. All right, so let's talk about the work experience section. So under work experience, you are going to list your work experience in reverse chronological order. This means that the most recent job comes first in the list. You will list the employer's name, the date that you worked there, and you will also list your job roles. And when you list your job roles, you need to remember that, again, you're not using pronouns, so you will not say things like, I did such and such. We don't do that on a resume. So what you would do is list things like responsible for the care of 12 patients, or managed the activities of daily living for 8 patients, including bed baths, feedings, and vital signs, something like that. So you're going to start each sentence with some type of action word: managed, responsible, coordinated, something like that. And you'll use a couple bullet points, and it's really great to look at the job that you're applying to and figure out what they're looking for and kind of tweak those bullet points to fit that, as long as it fits into the role of whatever job you're applying for. So you'll do this for all of your jobs. However, I will say that if you have a ton of jobs, you don't need to list 15 jobs on your resume. Pick out the ones that are related to nursing, so definitely include those, and definitely include the most recent. The next section will be the skills and activities section. So this is where you're going to list certain skills. This will include computer skills such as Microsoft Word. It's really great to put on your resume if you are understanding of different electronic health records. I know the hospital that I work at uses Epic, and it's kind of a big thing to be training a nurse who doesn't know how to use Epic. I feel like nurses on orientation who don't know how to use Epic are very, very overwhelmed with Epic. So it's good for an employer to know, oh, this person knows how to use Epic. It's just going to make the training much easier. So if you have any understanding of electronic health records, definitely put that on your resume. Also in this section, you will put any languages that you speak. So if you're bilingual, in this section, you can also list your leadership experience. So this could include if you were a sports coach or officers for your nursing class, anything like that where you had leadership experience, you can list that on your resume as well. You also can include certifications. So if you are BLS certified, CNA, or any other type of trainings, you will list what that training is and when you received your certificate in that training. Also, you can have a section for volunteer experience. If you have volunteer experience that directly relates to the job that you're applying for. So for example, sometimes students are volunteers in the hospital, or sometimes students are volunteers in different programs or places that do help people that have some type of illness or disease or disorder, and that is definitely something that you would want to list on your resume.
Hey everyone, so I want to just walk through the resume template that I created for you guys. So this is the template here. You can see it on my screen. This is a fake template. This is not my real resume. But you guys can use this to create a simple, clean resume. I personally love clean resumes. I don't like when they have different designs in the backgrounds, or some people have their pictures up in the corner. It's just not my thing. I like it nice and clean. So here is the template that we have. There's 2 different templates. So this first template is for someone that doesn't have a ton of work experience, and the reason for that is that it includes all the clinical rotations from nursing school. The second template does not have the nursing school experience, and it is so that you can include different work experience or clinical experience that you've had as a job in the past, or volunteer experience, or things like that. Additionally, a resume can be more than one page. It can be 2 pages in the sense that it can be a front and back. So if you wanted to edit this, say you want to include your clinical rotations, but you also want to include your work experience, and then you also want to include your volunteer experience, and then your skills and things like that, you can just, erase that, and you have your volunteer experience that will be printed out on the other page. Also say that your certificates and license, sometimes you have like a long list if you have a lot of things that you've been certified in, so this will give you some more space for that. Alright, but for that reason, we'll keep it like that. So just to quickly go over, you have your education section at the top, so you can include the schools that you've attended, where they were located, the degree that was received, and the date. And then also you can include your GPA if you would like to. Typically, if you score higher than a 3.2, you're encouraged to put it on your resume. Then we come down to clinical experience. This is any job that you've had in a clinical setting in a hospital. If you have not had this experience, you can erase this section. But I think it's highly encouraged that any nursing student gets some type of experience in the field they want to go in. It doesn't necessarily have to be a CNA. It could also be a unit coordinator or a mental health counselor or something like that, just that it is related to whatever clinical area you want to go into. And down here we have clinical rotations. Here are the different courses, the locations, and the amount of hours in the semester. If you don't know the hours, you can erase this. This is just good, especially if you're applying to one of the places that you did a clinical rotation. It's really good to put that on there so that they know. Okay, and if we go down here, you can list your work experience, and for that you're going to list where you worked, you're going to list the location, such as city and state, what your job role was, and the points in time which you worked there. You're then going to describe what your job entailed. This is not going to be listed as like, I did this or I did that. You're going to use an action verb, so collaborated, managed, performed, and then tell you did. So collaborated with nursing to care for 12 patients per shift, certain things like that, but as long as it relates to what you did. And you're going to do that for all the places that you worked. Here I only put 2, but you may have 5, 6, 7 places. If this section is really long, you don't need to include jobs that you had in high school as like a person in a grocery store or something like that. You can just stick to the more related work experience. Also your leadership and involvement section, any organizations that you're part of. You may be watching this, be like, I'm not part of an organization. You should really think about joining. As a student, you do get a student discount most often for these organizations. You also get access to nurses in this field and different journal articles and research, and some of them have like an online, it's almost like a Facebook, but for nurses in the association, so it's great networking. There's forums, you can ask questions. It's really, really great, and they usually have a nursing student discount, which can honestly end up being like 1/5 of the cost. And if you're a student, you can join through the student rate. Oh, that's good. And then any groups maybe in college you're a part of. Then you can list your skills and certificates. This will include any languages you speak. If you're proficient in different electric health records, that's really good to include. And your CPR, BLS, and the date that you are certified. And for the second section, it's just the same thing but set up different. I did include some volunteer experience, which looks a lot like the work experience, but this is where you'll put your volunteer experience, especially if it relates to clinical practice. So maybe you're a camp counselor and you're trying to get into pediatrics. That would definitely be a related field, so include that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you find this helpful.
I hope that this video will help you guys in applying for your nursing jobs. And Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And remember that I have 2 free resume documents that you guys can just fill in your stuff on, and then that way you can easily and quickly write a resume. It is an outline template for you guys, and again, it's free, so check out that link down below and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon.